Hi everybody, welcome to the TechHub.Training Excel Advisory Revenue Pivot Tables Challenge solution. So let's jump right in. Here's the data. It's demonstrating some public accounting revenue data that shows the professional, the hours they worked, and the rate, and then the ultimate revenue for each client that they billed hours for. And so first, let's jump right in. So we want to first create a pivot table containing the total revenue for each practice by year. And the pivot table should be in a sheet called total revenue. So start, let's go to the insert tab, click on the pivot table. It's going to automatically populate to the range, and we're going to say new worksheet. And we can rename it total revenue. And we want the total revenue by practice. So we're going to pull practice down into rows and take revenue and the sum of revenue. And let's rename it to revenue by practice. And then we also want the years. So let's throw in dates here, and it automatically comes up with years, quarters, and date. So since we only really want the years, let's just pull out the quarters and the date. And then we can rename this years, or year, and rename this practice. And there you have it. So this is the pivot table, and we can real quick just throw some formatting in here, make it look nice and neat. I mean, these are dollar figures, so there we go. That represents the total revenue by practice for each year. All right, now moving on to the second pivot table, let's jump back to the data page and insert a new pivot table in a new worksheet. And we can call this one Advisory Revenue 2022. Move that here to the end. And let's see, for this one, we want to be looking at the total revenue for each region for the advisory practice in 2022. So we're breaking it down by region on the row level. We want to see total revenue for each region. And here's the regions. And then we're also going to pull in revenue. And let's go ahead and rename this to total revenue. And then it says for each, for only the advisory practice. So we're going to throw a filter in on practice. Come over and select advisory, and then also just for 2022. So let's pull in the years into filters, and then only select 2022. And then, so I guess this is the total revenue for each region for just the advisory practice in 2022. All right, and now we want to sort the table from largest to smallest. So we're gonna come in here, and we can actually rename this region. And then we're gonna hit more sort options. And we want to sort it descending, so largest to smallest by total revenue. So now, and I guess we should have done the formatting afterwards, but now you can see that it's sorted in order of the total revenue largest to smallest. Awesome. So now let's move on to the third pivot table. So come back to the data and select pivot table. We're going to insert it into a new worksheet again. We can rename this one South Region Advisory Detail. Let's move it to the end. And then we are going to, so we're creating a pivot table containing the total revenue. So we can draw on total revenue, total hours, and the average rate billed per hour. So we can, and then we can change this to average. And just to make things easier, we can go ahead and rename these to total revenue, total hours, and average rate. And then let's see, we want to see these metrics for each client. So the client is going to be in the rows here. All right, so now we have all of these metrics for all clients. But wait, we want only the South region, so we're going to throw a filter in on region and select South, and then only the advisory practice, and so we're going to throw practice and filter in, and then also just in 2022. So we're going to throw in the years metric and select 2022. And so here are our numbers, and then we want to sort the table to show clients build the highest average rate in descending order. So we're gonna want to sort on this column right here, the average rate column. So go into row labels and more sort options. I'm gonna choose descending by average rate, and now all of the data is sorted based on the average rate column in descending order. Then we can rename this region and throw some formatting in here, just on the rate and revenue columns, because the hours is not a dollar figure. All right, so here we have the third pivot table demonstrating the South region advisory detail. All right, now let's go back to the data and move on to the fourth table. So we're going to insert another pivot table just to a new worksheet, and we're going to, we want to display the top 10 professionals who billed the most hours in 2022. And we're going to display the total hours they worked and the average rate they billed. And then we're going to sort them in descending order. All right, so first let's pull in the professional. So we'll just pull in professional to rows, and we want to know total hours and then their average rate. Let's go ahead and rename this to total hours and their average rate. And then we're also going to need to change this from the sum to average. Okay, and so now we just need to filter it on years to only show 2022. Okay, so now we have all of the employees, their total hours and average rate for 2022. But we only want the top 10. So we're gonna click on row labels on the drop down and go into value filters and click top 10 and show the top 10 items by total hours. And then we also want to sort by the total hours from largest to smallest. So we're going to sort in descending order by total hours. And there we go. Now we have the top 10 professionals who work, or the professionals who worked the most hours, the top 10 of them, and their average rates. And let's go ahead and throw some formatting in here. There we go. Now we have the their average rates, and we can, I mean, it's a dollar figure, so we can leave it out at 2 decimal points. But there's the solution for the Excel Advisory Revenue Pivot Tables Challenge.